Um, Hi everyone. Thank you for coming. Wow, I don't know what the fuck that was. Okay, one more time. I'm probably keeping that in. But yeah,
That was
hi
funny.
everyone. So I brought my friend Joshua here. This is actually going to be the start to some YouTube content that I want to do, exploring identities of practitioners past their whimsical shit. Um, I recorded a bunch. I'm not even sure what order this is coming out in, but I did promise Joshua the first spot. So definitely be on the lookout for the next interviews that I release. And Joshua, you care to say hi and give us a little bit about yourself or like what we're doing today?
Hey, so I'm Josh, and we're going to be talking about some questions regarding gender identity?
More like gender expression, but same difference.
Gender expression, that's what it was. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
because both of us. I mean, like I don't really have anyone that I know would feel that I'm close enough to ask about more fluidity. But I do remember a lot of the times when we talked, you brought up your gender within the context of its contrast to femininity.
Yeah. And I didn't know if you want to like ask me ask me anything indirect, or you just wanted me to like.
I kind of wanted to keep it indirect because like that was kind of the language not really, you like blatantly identify as male, but like
Mhm.
do you use neutral pronouns or
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any specific pronouns like that obligate anyone to call me by. Like
yeah.
some people have called me like, oh, like some people have felt comfortable enough to be like, hey, what is that? What is it? There's some like, hey, girl, or some shit like that. They'll call me girl sometimes or whatever. We're
Me.
talking, people get comfortable with you. People called me sis before. Um, I don't know. It just depends on the relationship and the bond that I have with the person, and I don't know.
I feel like with "Hey girl" and "Hey sis," like depending on who it's from, it's different.
Yeah.
Cause like even when I say it, like I say it in a like black slang way, not as
Hmm.
much like sister or brother. And I'll
Yeah.
flip between calling everyone both.
Yeah. I've
And
just never. No, no. I'm sorry. Keep going.
oh no, no, it's cool. I didn't really
I
have.
was just gonna. I was just gonna say like I never felt you know like I wanted to like box myself into only like male pronouns. Um but I never really felt. I don't. I don't want to. It's not that I want to be a female either. Like I'm just comfortable with you know being who I am. I never really felt like I had to box myself into you know growing up, my mother would always try to force me to wear like clothes that were bigger than me because I always felt like she wanted me to look more like masculine or whatever. Like
Yeah.
she always felt like I wanted to wear like tight clothes and tight things and whatever. So she would always try to like get me clothes that were bigger than me, try to man me up and get me like, I don't know. She always tried to dress me a particular way. And I just never really liked that. I didn't feel like I wanted to be a girl. She would always use that like, oh, do you want to be a girl? Do you want to be a girl? Because she would watch me and I used to grow up. I used to play with dolls when I was raised with women. Where women were like um everywhere.
Yeah.
Um and they're really strong role models to me also. So
I think
I didn't see anything wrong with that. Hmm?
this also goes to like a really problematic term in the queer community, femme. And just like the idea that that type of expression automatically gets like that femme label gets put on you a lot of the time
Yeah.
without it
People,
like
are you femme? And I'm like, what?
Like
Like
in
I'm not
some ways.
normal.
Like
I'm not
that,
a person.
but that's exactly like the same with me too. Like I personally, like my personality is not like super macho or super like rough. I'm very like, I don't know. I'm just me. And like that's kind of like what a lot of this stuff is. And it's interesting seeing like it's the reason I ask you for your perspective is because it's interesting seeing that dynamic play out with our conversations. Because we never
Yeah.
really like talk about that directly. Because like I honestly hate when people ask me that shit like in the first interaction.
Yeah. Are you fat? And it's like, why does it matter? And it's like you kind of feel bad. And like I've been in situations where I felt like I have to like be over masculine to like, and then it's like I'm not really being myself. And then it's like, what's the point of even going to see this person or whatever? And it's like, I don't, it's just a waste of time. And you're really just hurting yourself in the process. Um,
I think a lot of it, especially, and this is something Artemis brought up in our conversation that I recorded earlier today, but will be coming out later. um, we brought up the conversation about how Latin American countries have a lot of internalized homophobia and the fact that you're not really gay unless you bottom by their standards.
I think that's bullshit.
It is. And
I
like
think
it's
that's
definitely a big generalization for a big region. But like, I mean, we both have phones.
I feel like it's like a mind. It's like in your mind. Like you don't have to like bottom in order for you to like you really have thoughts about it. It's like I feel like I always knew what I wanted when I was like. It's not that I knew what I wanted. It was like I more so was just like I think I like guys. Like I think they're cute. Whatever. Like I think girls are cute too. And like I just didn't feel like I should be able to like choose or like you know I
I
always
feel
felt
like,
weird when everyone was just like trying to put labels on you and whatever.
yeah, I feel like this ties into the other interviews I did. Um, because I didn't even notice, but everyone I've interviewed is also bisexual or fluid in some way. And it's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's just like these things that we don't normally get a chance to talk about without it automatically being tied to trauma. Like
Yeah,
the whole coming out thing. And this is a question I wanted to ask you too. Like, it's rough, and let's not get into like any of the heavy stuff, but like, what's some of the good stuff? Like what's something about like the way you live now, because it might not even just be coming out, like as you have to do that a bunch of times throughout your life, but like for
I
me,
think the most. No, keep going. I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry.
yeah, for me personally, I just like I don't know necessarily have the dynamic where with my family to where I talk to them about partners, but I've been more vocal, and I've been like especially more vocal about like who not vocal about who I date, but like I won't stutter to post a picture of me and someone I'm dating on my social media. Like as soon as it gets to that point,
Yeah,
like hasn't gotten to a point where I want to tell my family anything about my dating life, and like guys, girls, like whatever. Like I'm just me. Oh my god, like meow.
yeah.
That meow was so cute.
He's being silly. Um, yeah, no, I agree with you because it's like you shouldn't have to feel like you have to broadcast like yourself on. in order for you to, be accepted or whatever, because what you're doing is not wrong. It's
Different.
normal. It's normal. So I agree with that. Like, I feel like even though my family was not like, my family disapproves of my lifestyle, the most important thing for me was to like be truthful to myself. That's the one thing that is really important to me. Like, if I'm not true to myself, if I feel like if I'm lying to myself, if I'm just living in a lie or whatever, if I have to lie constantly, I won't feel good. It just doesn't make me feel like a good person. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in myself. I don't feel like I'm able to, I'm not on track. So I felt like once I just tell these people who I am and what, and not, and it wasn't that. I feel like I was more pressured to kind of come out per se, because my family was religious, and my feminine tendencies were kind of like threatening to, their stereotypical masculine, you know what we're conditioned to, what males are like conditioned to like act like. um
Which is
I just
always,
wasn't.
almost always toxic.
Yeah, like all emotions were supposed to be like, it was always just like, you're so emotional, stop being emotional, like you're always crying, you're a girl, like it was just stuff like that constantly, and it
When
was
in
just like, oh, he's
actuality,
crying again.
when in
And
actuality, guys are some of the most emotional motherfuckers on the planet.
yeah. And it was just, I was just like, fuck, like I feel like why I was so emotional also is because I felt like I wasn't, well, I was just, I'm an emotional person, but I just wanted to express myself. I wanted to be who I wanted to be, and I felt like my family was just like, did not want. They're just. I knew they're just. Well, it's not them. It was mostly my mom and her, and my parents or whatever. But I know their intentions were good. Like, they're in the right place, I guess. But
I mean,
um,
it's also that
mm,
religious pressure.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I understand
definitely.
that my dad's side is really Christian and they wouldn't approve of my religion, or honestly, my dad's a dick, but they don't really care. They're like really chill, but they also say problematic shit. And it's just this back and forth, and like it makes it hard to stay with family members like that, but also like I wasn't raised by them, and thank God that would have well, shit. Let me re-say that. I wasn't raised by that side, and it's probably for the best because I would have been in a worse position for my mental health, like having
Yeah,
feeling the need to lie and sneak around not only about my religion but like my sexuality and all these other parts of my personality. And a few years ago, I think this was back in 2016, I went to a misa, and this was before I like, I guess, came out to myself. But I started like the spirits there that came in and possessed the guests. They said, "Be true to yourself. Don't be afraid. Love who you love without fear, and be yourself without fear. Live unapologetic." Because like I really am of the opinion no one post death gives a fuck about genitalia. Certainly not God.
yeah.
Like that,
Definitely.
yeah. Like that would be some shit. Getting to the afterlife and then realizing you still have gender roles and the same restrictions of a body.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
that was
tangent.
my mom always tells me, like, in Islam they always say that you have a house, and you have like your wife and um your kid, and like it's like you have everything is so perfect, and you can eat and you'll never be full, and all this other shit. I'm just like, oh wow, awesome. Like, like there's like Jesus is gonna live. Like, I forgot where it was. There's like levels of heaven or whatever. How she described it, was just so. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. I think like the whole idea of heaven and the concept. Oh my
He was chilling, saying hi. What's up? Okay, sorry about
God. No, that was a necessary sidetrack.
that.
I think it's like it's really interesting that I brought you on because a lot of, and honestly, a lot of the other talks that I've had, they ranged from like 30 minutes to an hour to, yeah, it was just a lot of different opinions and a lot of different takes. And like this time it feels like very casual, like very, like we're wrapping up the ideas pretty quickly because a lot of this is like very
Yeah.
straight to the point.
Um.
Um,
Yeah. I also wanted to if you, well, if you still wanted to, because I
yeah,
know because you sent me specific questions that you
yeah.
that were there. So I was like, I know I thought about them a little bit, and I just didn't know like if you were gonna like specify, like you wanted to bring it up in the video.
I mean, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts and like how you explained all of that. Like, and that's kind of why I cut like gate. I was kind of reading off of the questions and kind of asking you.
Okay.
So
Okay, no, perfect. Because if you're already doing that naturally,
yeah.
then cool. I was just like, I hope I'm like answering his questions. I hope I'm not just rambling about random shit.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we hit
Okay.
basically every. Oh, expression in work.
Okay.
Like how,
Um,
like, do you have any issues in your workplace without telling us where you work?
mm-mm. Um, I I honestly don't. I feel like everywhere I've worked, had and been able to like openly express myself. I don't feel like my expression is necessarily. I'm not a flamboyant or like loud person. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to like body language and whatever, I don't feel like I don't feel like mm, I feel like you only will. I feel like if you really get to know me, that's the only time you'll be like, okay, this dude's kind of like feminine or whatever.
I
He's got
mean, but
like
you're
feminine
also like
tendencies.
in the workplace, and I get it because you
Yeah,
would probably be wearing something like something
I
different.
got like a mask
From,
on most of the time,
yeah,
and but I'm honestly I'm interacting with people a lot. I work with people a lot, so I'm interacting a lot with people. But honestly, don't. And if people ever do give me like a problem, I don't know. I just handle it very professional. Um, yeah, I'm very
I
professional
either
in that
I
situation.
either shut down and dissociate, or I lose my shit, and there is no in between.
Mm.
um,
Sometimes you have to do that.
yeah. Also, and that's kind of something interesting about me. Like gender expression was pretty heavily enforced for living right outside of fucking New York City. I've seen a lot of Confederate flags too, and that's just a whole other conversation. But
Yeah,
it's just, I'm just at this point where I could recognize that I've been shaped by this extremely toxic view of masculinity to the point where I don't know. I'm definitely like unpacking gender expression a lot, but I am very comfortable in my masculinity.
yes.
But that's also something like I would probably have to talk to with my breeder friends because yeah, I'm not straight enough to give a comprehensive talk on masculinity on my own.
Wait, you're what?
Sorry, I'm not straight enough to give a comprehensive talk on masculinity on my own, nor would I ever want to. That just sounds like a lot of just because I have to keep in mind my audience and the fact that, like, a lot of these conversations will go over people's heads unless they are from this community. And as
Yeah.
accessible as I'd like to make it, Google's free. And like some of these terms, like it's important to start getting cisgender people and breeders to Google it and to start doing their own research and to start asking these questions.
I, I, when you first said that, I thought you were making a sexual reference, and I was like, wait, what?
What? Oh, saying
Breeder.
oh, breed. Yeah, I am.
Oh, you were, but you're talking about straight people, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
I
straight.
weird. I don't know what I was thinking about that because like someone was like,
Well, I wanted
uh,
it to be
this is a weird
derogatory.
conversation.
I wanted it to be derogatory towards them specifically because that seems to be their whole mindset in life.
Yeah.
Not not to shade my straight friends, but like,
Yeah.
come on, like, okay, let me stop being a bitch. Uh, I just like y'all are never gonna hear it unless we start doing it. So I'm gonna start doing it. So y'all have to hear it because
Breeders.
because like growing up, we both probably got called the F word more times than we could count.
Yeah.
And like breeders is just fun to say. it
It's
just
not really that offensive.
it just describes a very specific type of straight person.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
It does.
You can be straight and you can
Yeah.
be a
You
breeder.
gotta think about it. And if you really think about it and then you're offended about it, then it works.
Right? Then you know
Yeah.
which one you are. I once had a professor in the middle of class say something along the lines of like, "Oh, I promised to not have kids a long time ago because I'm not breeders like the rest of y'all. Do you realize how bad your carbon footprint is?" And I screamed. I just had this silent like, like, uh,
What is a carbon footprint?
like how much carbon you put, like your household puts out, like how much pollution, how much air pollution.
Oh, I see exactly what he's saying now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not a breeder. And I just lost it.
Oh my
And
god.
oh my god. So cute. uh, I took a picture with my friend's kitten because I helped her adopt a kitten because I wanted to have unlimited access to a cat. And I sent it to someone and they responded with, "Four evil eyes is all I see." And I just,
What, four evil eyes are all
yeah,
I see.
right?
And
Me
they're like,
and the cat. Uh,
like, let me look at their page. Like, what do they look like?
uh,
That's
yeah, that's
funny.
an off-camera conversation. I think it's just, oh, what are some barriers you experience with gender expression is another question. But after that, I we kind of covered a lot of it. Do you have any like just let me know if you have any lingering thoughts or like anything you want to share?
No, I just want to make sure I was, answering everything you wanted me to give to you.
Yeah.
Um, but when it comes to that, I feel like hmm,
And I know you mentioned family earlier, but I was thinking beyond that. Like,
like outside, like the
yeah.
society. Um, I feel like I generally don't care what people think about me. Sometimes I feel like, especially living in Chicago or whatever, it just depends. I don't feel like it is. I feel like I have to. How am I trying to say this? no, I don't really care what people think about me or anything like that. And I don't feel like I have to act a certain way outside of my house or anything like that. Um, but it just depends on like if I'm in a certain like neighborhood, I do find myself kind of like, making sure that I'm like if there's like a bad neighborhood and you see like, people, I think you kind of sense when there's an area of bad energy or whatever, people are gonna kind of be ignorant. People want to start fights or whatever. I've seen that. I don't want to ever put I don't ever put myself like to
I
put
mean,
myself in a situation.
I
Hmm?
would say it even expands beyond bad neighborhoods. Like it might even just be the fact that the neighborhood's like to itself. Like, and if you stand out, you stand out. Like
Yeah,
I get what like
that's true
the
too.
neighborhood's like too. Like great.
Hmm?
I'm grateful that I grew up in a good neighborhood, and I'm glad that I live there now. But even like in New Orleans, like I lived in Treme, which isn't necessarily hood, but it's like it's still it's still to itself enough because there's no white business going in, and because there isn't that, not to say there isn't gender expression in the black community, but it is demonized within our own community, and then white people come in and normalize it because they're gentrifying the neighborhoods. But
Yeah.
that's a whole side tangent. You were expressing like when you're walking through the hood or like a bad neighborhood or like just closed off neighborhoods.
Like in California, I felt like so comfortable like walking around everywhere, and like I walked around doing whatever I wanted. Like my hair was all types of colors. I lived right on Long Beach, next to the
Oh,
Pike and where.
yeah, you were
Um,
in gay heaven.
yeah, so I remember I remember one day, oh my God. I had my hair braided up in like micro braids, but like
Yeah.
they were like long to my ass, and they were blue and purple. And I was just walking around, and I just thought I was like the shit. Like, and then I look back at that, and I was like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, but my braids were bomb. My braids were bomb. But like, I was just you look a fucking hot mess. You just walking around outside just with these. I had my it was a really nice hairstylist that did my hair though. I like did an
And, it,
internship at
and they
this.
were
What
good.
was it?
They were good braids too.
They were really good braids. But
Okay.
like I've always growing up in California in that area, I just felt like there was not an issue ever expressing myself or
Yeah.
anything like that. Um I never feel like there's really an issue. I've always liked to like push the boundary whenever there's like you can't do this or someone's like this isn't specifically for a male or a female. I'm just like, well, maybe I want to try the female one or whatever. Like, because I don't feel like I should be bound to things like that. I feel like my penis shouldn't, obligate me to do certain things or whatever, because I feel like unless I'm using the restroom or like doing anything in the bathroom, what does my penis have to do with anything? Um, I don't know.
Or
That's
your
just my,
presentation, like your gender expression matching up to penis.
yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you with that. Like whenever I'm in New York, I feel like that's more acceptable. But like here in Jersey, it's not. Like it's horrible. Like I just don't like I feel unsafe being a black person in Jersey, let alone like a queer black person. Like it's just like how bad how bad do you have to drop the ball for it to be this backwards when New York's right next door? Like it's 30 minutes. I'm 30 minutes outside of the city. Like
Hey,
it's
bad.
yeah, it's not bad, and it's like it's a good area. Like I'm grateful. But once
Hmm.
again, they have gender stuck up their asses, gender and religion. And I think it's a problem with our entire country, honestly. We need to stop seeing things out of one point of view and start admitting we have different people here.
That's yeah. I totally agree with that. Like, I don't know what it's gonna take. I really don't. That's why I keep saying like there needs like an alien invasion needs to come and like do something like.
Of all apocalypses, we got the capitalist one.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers are still dropping. Like, someone I saw in someone's story, like, you motherfuckers walking in my store without a mask, having an attitude. Y'all motherfuckers probably wouldn't even tell anyone if you got bit by a zombie either. And
For real.
I feel like she just read everyone and I couldn't share because her story's private.
Yeah. But that's true because if you got bit by a zombie, like you tell somebody, they're gonna be scared of you or they're gonna shoot your ass. So it's like, hey, like I'm trying to protect myself. So
It's I'm tired of I'm tired of living in COVID times. I miss like I miss subtle forms of expression, like going and getting drunk at drag shows and hanging out and watching TV and politics with four of your bitchiest friends.
yeah,
Those
it
are very
sucks because
specific.
now it's like, do you want to go out? And then it's like, go out. Then it's like, where? Like,
I like in May I graduate and everyone's like, "Oh, well, are we going to bars? Are we doing this? Are we doing that?" Like, no, I'm getting my shit. I'm taking some graduation pictures and we are leaving. We're not going out. And then it's going to be, I don't know, it's interesting. I go to a Catholic school in the South, so it's just gender expression in New Orleans is cool. Yeah.
how I did not know you went to a Catholic school. That's so awesome. I've always been very interested in like Catholicism and like
So I go
that.
to a historic Black Catholic school. I'm mute blocking this out or muting this from the thing. But
Okay.
yeah, so I go to that school and it's the only, once again, muting. And yeah, it's really interesting because I'm in the middle of New Orleans. I'm learning a bit about like faith and stuff, but like up until the pandemic, like I was down there learning like a whole bunch. And like New Orleans is really gay. Like really, really gay. And it's cool because like they have like a rich history. During the AIDS epidemic, someone burnt down one of the only gay clubs and they rebuilt it. Like it's a lot. Well, I don't think they rebuilt it, but they might have for a while. I'm not sure. I remember reading that at the start of the pandemic, so don't quote me.
In your school, is there like classes to like, study to be like a priest?
Probably you could get a theology minor, and then there's a seminary school down the street to become a priest.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
becoming a priest is like grad school.
okay. So, do you need to take theology?
No,
No,
depending on
but
the,
that, okay.
yeah, you really just need to be like Catholic
Okay.
or Christian even too to be a pastor.
I've always been interested in like priesthood and like, like the process that they go and, like who teaches them this stuff? Like, do they go to an academy and who teaches them how to exercise people and, um,
Ooh,
you
that's
know,
actually like a whole thing we could talk about like separately.
yeah.
Um, we'll set up a date for that later this week.
Okay.
But yeah, and that one's going to be more research based. So maybe we should later in the week we'll talk about like what everything needs to be done for that. But do you have any final thoughts on gender or
No, I'm good unless you have anything you want to ask me. I'm good. I feel like I was pretty thorough.
yeah, I mean once again, and this is something I'm going to repeat throughout the other interviews, these are really simple topics. You're going to see a lot of, like, whoever's watching this is going to see a lot of themes replay. And I got a lot of really interesting, like, just character, like, not even character snippets, but little snippets and things that I could share with you guys and give you for promotion. So, yeah, I'm gonna send you some clips from this interview when I actually go through and edit, and then,
Okay.
yeah, thank you, Josh.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. It was my pleasure. Anytime.
All right,
All
I'll
right.
talk to you soon. Bye.
See you. All right.
All right, so I have Diana here. We started talking a little heavy about like gender identity, and this is kind of a companion piece to another video I just recorded. And I'm probably going to snitch them together, honestly. But
As you should.
yeah, so I wanted to get your perspective on, first of all, that meme I sent you, like the really sexist meme, and specifically as a Black woman and a Latina woman, like it's important to see a perspective that's not just cis white women in feminist literature.
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, as we know, feminism never included the Black woman. So to start there, there's already like that. It's already coming from that lens.